Yeah. Now our buddy Axis has been really beating the drum on this, and so I'm not going to do it justice, but I'll be I'm just beginning to understand, right? Because I'm
Shout out to
back here.
Axis.
Yeah, Axis Alive, right? So I'm back here like Mr. Stake It, and wait. And because every time I do something that involves pushing a button to trade is usually a screw up. So I very much have fallen into, and of course taught by the hexagon system, right? Hold and stake and hold, right? Swap, stake and hold. And we do that. So a lot of this stuff is a little bit foreign to me as far as how to understand how it works. And I suspect some other people too. So here's the gist of it. We're watching the liquidity and the volatility. And volatility is just how much price is varying up and down. And then also, the liquidity, just how much is out there. And so this is the way I put it together is when we approach lower and lower liquidity, the volatility can be higher, right? Because there's less to go around. So you get slippage in either direction. And then if you're moving in a direction, you're going to see the price go in that direction. So when you look at these charts like Sloth puts up and Axis put up, and you can see where the price is and what the liquidity is around that price and how thick it is, you can kind of get a feel for how it may push through in one direction or another. And so I've been really dabbling now last few days trying to infer, from all these discussions, what we're seeing, exactly what price is going to do. And what it's done today is no surprise based on the updates. Now, here's the thing, though, is to be able to follow that liquidity, you got to be looking at it almost in real time. Because as fast as I can make a transaction, it can change. Right? And so we go look at, then we have this chart up. We go look up here, right? Liquidity in HEX right now is 109 million. I apologize for the fact there's no commas up here at the moment on this screen. But I was actually working on, this is my new presentation for Hexfire. But, it's at 109 million. It was down to 33 million 12 hours ago. So that's, it can shift around pretty fast is what my point is. And so that's not a good and not a bad thing. It's just this thing, that's what happens. And yeah.
Why would people, pull liquidity? What are some of the reasons they would do that, you think? Especially at this time in Hex's, what Hex is doing?
Well, there could be a lot of reasons. Yeah, so they could just people that want to pull the liquidity for whatever, they have some other use, right, for those assets. Another reason might be they think V3 is launching, right? Or that we're getting, I guess V3 wouldn't be a reason to do it, or we're getting really close to launch. So this is when people talk about this huge spiking and volatility. When we get to implementation where we think the fork is going to happen on PulseChain, it will be safer for people to pull their liquidity for them. If they pull their liquidity goes down, then you have the opportunity for extreme volatility. If you have people buying into the volatility, price is going to go up. If you sell into it, it's going to go down. And it could be a very wild couple of days. Right?
Right. So the liquidity is one thing. And yeah, what is, we went up pretty far. It was like 5.5 or so. What's behind this momentum? Why are we we seeing so many green candles in Hex lately?
Yeah, I give you my opinion. I don't know if it's true.
Sure.
I just think that we've worn out sellers. Right? I mean, I think people who had to sell have sold, and people who have the chance to wait are waiting. And we continue to have adoption. We're always seeing more, it's a measure, but more wallets staking on a daily basis. We have more holders, and if crypto is nothing but speculators, I mean, they're out there, right? And in Hex, I know for a fact we have scalpers and swing traders. So Yeah, it's conceivable that, the price is going up because more people are buying than selling. Okay. So we got that. So why are they buying? Maybe buy the rumor, sell the news, looking for a quick pump. I mean, I realize that some people may not think it's a lot, but I think doubling your money in 2 weeks or 3 weeks is pretty good, for a trader. So if somebody was in on 2.5 or 2.1 and they got up to 5.2, that was a pretty good hit. I don't know if they can repeat it, but I mean that might be an example. And there could be people buying the rumor with the intent to sell the news for V3 launch. So all
Right.
of those, I think there's probably pieces of truth to all of it, all conspiring,
And
bring it up.
as far as staking, do you want to talk about staking behaviors and any of the ratio change of circulating hex?
Yeah, sure. Now, I know I sent you that in the notes. I don't think I actually have the ratio, but that was something I was thinking about. And I'll tell you what started to make me think about it. So we're talking about, hey, what's going on in the system, and what are we thinking about for the near future? And I'm going to go over. Let's go daily chats first. Daily hex daily stats charts. And let's go take a look down here at our current stakers. So you guys see that okay? Are you good with that, Max?
Yeah, if you want to zoom in while we like a certain spots, but yeah, overall it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, just generally the trend is that we continue to have our stakers. We did over 50% in the last year in terms of the number of stakers out there. And, we're up above 118 and, 1,000. And this is a daily count. So this is going up every single day. Every single day. And so one of the questions that came to mind is, just how much restaking is taking place, right? Because that makes sort of a difference between, what might happen with price and whatnot. I was listening to Wales last week and he was talking about this. And what he was getting at is, hey, the price went way up, but if you look at, the amounts that are going through the system, a lot of people holding out liquid, which means they might be dumping on our heads at some point, so they may not be on our side. So if we look, I have two charts up here on the screen. One of them is count of hex stake starts and ends. That's kind of less valuable than the sum of the hex t-shares, which is the one at the bottom. And so I'm going to highlight over here on 23 and just go down to the next level and just look at what we've been seeing. Now, why didn't that go to 23? I guess it just went out to December. So let me go back up. So you can see, because we're just 1 month into this thing anyways, but you can see that what we're seeing is pretty damn near even, but not quite. The purple are starts. And so we've had 446,000, T-shares, new T-share stakes, but we've had slightly more ending at 482,000. So that's one of the indicators for me that tells me that people are restaking. Because in order to kind of keep those numbers fairly close, we've got to have hex coming into the system to get the additional T-shares, And you can see in the past that we typically see more end than start, and that's just normal, right? Because again, that ratcheting cost, is that people will have to do that in order to, keep up with their stakes and maintain their level of yield. So that's just one example. Like I said, I don't have that ratio chart, but I know it's mentioning that ratio. And then we can look at the end stake analysis as well, where we could actually say, hey, look at the charts of, again, the HEX T shares. This one will actually give us a little better view. I'll go out here to this level, and you can see this a little bit better. So these are the ends. This one came up, Max, because people keep talking about how terrible the penalties are and how everybody's getting out. Everybody's not getting out. We get, it's actually the penalties and the number of emergency end stakes are actually kind of trending downwards. So these big purple candles are the T-shares that ended, at each one of these months. And then how many of them were emergency end stakes, to kind of compare the two. And even though I consider 24,000, T-shares a lot, 24,000 of 368,000 is kind of a small percentage, less than 10%. And so we just continue to see that going on. So fascinating system, man. Fascinating.
So you tell me everyone's not jumping ship and trying to get out immediately?
No, I don't think so. But I hate to joke about it because I want to get hurt. But more yield for me. Yeah. Well, that's what happens.
Sure. It's true.
It's true. How about you? What do you think about all this?
Man, I think that the number of, the last 2 or 3 months, we've been seeing a lot of big in stakes. I think it's when HEX went down to like a penny and a half or two. It was you think that was just panic? It feels like a completely different atmosphere now in February versus October, November, December. Was that just panic going on, or what happened?
Yeah, I think I think you have elements of panic. Tax time, man. Tax time. So
yeah,